choose peace rather than confrontation, except in cases where we cannot proceed, where we cannot move forward. Then, if the only alternative is violence, we will use violence.
Nelson Mandela endured 27 years of imprisonment for his devoted opposition to South Africa's apartheid system. He was denied attendance at the funerals of his mother and son and could not hold his wife, Winnie Mandela, for 21 years. His daughters Zeni and Zindezi were unable to see him until they turned 16. Subjected to harsh conditions designed to break his spirit, Mandela remained steadfast in his quest for equality for all people. Despite the immense personal cost of his incarceration, Mandela continued to lead and galvanize his fellow political prisoners. Upon his release, he played a pivotal role in negotiating an end to apartheid and became South Africa's first democratically elected president. This narrative captures Mandela's remarkable journey from prisoner to president. Welcome back to Knowledge Through Times. If today is your first time coming across this channel, kindly like and support this channel by subscribing. And for our returning subscribers, thank you for always staying here with us. Nelson Mandela, a member of the Xhosa ethnic group, was born into the Tembo royal family in the village of Vezo, South Africa. He pursued his legal studies at the University of Fort Hare and the University of Witwatersrand before beginning his career as a lawyer in Johannesburg. During his time in Johannesburg, Mandela became deeply involved in anti-colonial and African nationalist politics. He joined the African National Congress in 1943 and played a key role in founding its Youth League in 1944. In response to the National Party's establishment of apartheid, a racially segregated system that favored white South Africans, Mandela and the African National Congress committed themselves to dismantling it. Mandela's political influence grew as he was appointed president of the African National Congress, Transvaal branch, particularly noted for his participation in the 1952 Defense Campaign and the 1955 Congress of the People. Throughout his activism, he faced multiple arrests for seditious activities and endured the lengthy 1956 treason trial, which ended in acquittal. Influenced by Marxist ideology, he then joined the banned South African Communist Party. Although initially advocating non-violent protest, Mandela co-founded the militant group Mkhonto with Sizwe in 1961 in collaboration with the South African Communist Party, leading a sabotage campaign against the apartheid regime. His subsequent arrest in 1962 led to his imprisonment, and following the Rivonia trial, he received a life sentence for conspiring to overthrow the government. Mandela's imprisonment stemmed from his opposition to South Africa's apartheid laws. Apartheid means apartness in Afrikaans language. The apartheid legislation divided South Africans into 4 racial categories: the whites, which are the Europeans, black, colored, people of mixed races, or Indian, who are the Asians. White individuals comprises 15% of the population, held power and wealth, while black South Africans, making up 80% of the population, were relegated to the lowest social stratum. Many South Africans defied apartheid through civil disobedience campaigns, national strikes, and boycotts. Nelson Mandela, a young lawyer in the 1940s, joined the struggle and rose to prominence in the 1950s as a key leader against apartheid. The South African government made demands for equality and freedom with repression and violence, often shooting on armed demonstrators and arresting many others. Initially advocating peaceful resistance, Mandela eventually concluded that armed struggle was necessary. The militant group he co-founded, Mkhonto weSizwe, translated as Spear of the Nation, and also known as MK, are known as Armed Resistance Group. After spending 17 months on the ground garnering support for this cause, Mandela was arrested in 1962. And in 1963, he faced trial for multiple charges, resulting in a life sentence for him and 7 colleagues. In 1964, Mandela and his compatriots were sent to Robben Island, a maximum security prison where they endured severe conditions. Mandela spent 18 of his 27 years of imprisonment on Robben Island, isolated in a separate section for political prisoners. On Robben Island, prisoners faced grueling conditions meant to break their spirit. Rights were denied based on skin color, with black prisoners receiving poorer treatment than Indian or colored prisoners. Black men wore shorts and sandals year-round, while others could wear pants and shorts. Political prisoners faced the harshest conditions, enduring hard labor such as breaking rocks in a lime quarry. Contact with the outside world was severely limited, with Mandela allowed 1 letter and 1 30-minute visit every 6 months. He was denied attendance at the funeral of his mother and son and could not hold his wife, Winnie Mandela, for 21 years. His daughters, Zeni and Zindezi, were unable to see him until they turned 16. Conversations with visitors were monitored through glass walls and letters were heavily censored or shredded. Despite these harsh conditions, Mandela and his fellow prisoners continued to resist apartheid in various ways. They advocated for better conditions and rights for all prisoners. By 1966, black prisoners secured the right to wear long pants. Eventually, they were allowed desks in their cells and permitted to read and study. They even managed to plant a small garden. The prisoners also gained the right to play sports, organizing summer games and taking pride in their events, despite limited materials. Music served as another form of resistance, with prisoners creating a record club and organizing concerts. Outside the prison, South Africans continued their struggle against apartheid. In 1985, under growing pressure, the government offered to release Mandela if he renounced violence, but he refused, committed to the freedom of all South Africans. In 1986, he began discreetly reaching out to the government to discuss ending apartheid. In February 11, 1990, after 27 years of imprisonment, Mandela was released at the age of 71. The subsequent years were marked by intense negotiations, political violence, and the threat of civil war in 1993. South Africa adopted an interim constitution, paving the way for the first democratic elections. That year, Mandela and President F.W. de Klerk were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. In 1994, South Africa held its first democratic election. and Nelson Mandela became the country's first democratically elected president. He dedicated the remainder of his life to transforming South Africa, always acknowledging that the struggle for freedom was ongoing and that future generations would need to continue the work. Nelson Mandela died on December 5th, 2013 in Johannesburg. He was 95 years old. After his death was announced, his family was remembered and celebrated in South Africa as well as around the world. Numerous memorial services were held, including one by South African government on December 10. He was laid to rest in Kuno in South Africa's Eastern Cape Province on December 15th, 2013. Thank you for joining us till this minute, and we have come to the end of today's video. Do well to like, subscribe, and drop a comment about the next historical event you would want us to talk about. See you in our next video. Bye.